The night the Avengers died, there was no warning siren, no alien armada, no mad titan, just the sound of a motorcycle screaming through the streets of Manhattan, his tires burning fire into the asphalt, and a voice from the shadows whispering a sentence that would shatter the world's mightiest heroes. Judgment has come. It begins with a mistake, a small one, by Avengers standards. Collateral damage, after a mission gone sideways in Eastern Europe, a weapons depot neutralized, a warlord captured, a city saved. The news cycles praise them, the public cheers, but buried beneath the rubble of that victory are dozens of innocent lives, erased in seconds, families, children, names that never make it into the report. And somewhere, far away, something ancient stirs. Johnny Blaze wakes up screaming, his hands shaking, the smell of sulfur thick in his lungs. His spirit of vengeance is louder tonight, angrier than it has been in years. It shows him images he cannot escape, burning buildings, crushed bodies, terrified faces frozen at the moment of death. And then the faces change. Not criminals, not murderers hiding in alleys, heroes, gods among men. The Avengers. Johnny fights it, he always does. He tells himself they're the good guys, that they save the world, that vengeance has no place here. But the spirit does not care about intentions, only sin, only guilt, only the balance that must be restored. In Avengers Tower, Tony Stark watches the city through a wall of glass, a half-empty glass of scotch in his hand. He doesn't sleep much anymore. He tells himself it's because of work, because the world never stops needing Iron Man. But the truth gnaws at him. He remembers the blast radius. He remembers Friday's calm voice, counting civilian casualties like numbers on a spreadsheet. He remembers telling himself it was unavoidable. Below him, the city lights flicker. A sudden spike of heat rolls through the tower. Alarms blare. Elevators die. Every screen flashes red. Friday's voice loses its composure for the first time in years. Unidentified entity approaching at extreme velocity. Temperature exceeding known parameters. Then the glass explodes inward. Flames pour into the room like a living thing, coiling and roaring. And from within the fire steps a figure that should not exist. A man-shaped inferno. A skull wreathed in hellfire. Chains dragging sparks across the floor. Tony's nanotech armor wraps around him on instinct. Repulses charge. Okay, he says, forcing sarcasm into his voice. That's new, and I've fought a purple god with a bedazzled glove. The thing tilts its head, flames flaring brighter. Its voice echoes like 1,000 screams layered together. Anthony Edward Stark, you have been weighed. The words hit Tony harder than any blast. Before he can respond, the chains fly. They don't wrap around his armor. They wrap around his chest, around his heart. And suddenly, Tony is no longer in the tower. He's in Sokovia. He's in New York. He's in 100 battlefields at once. He sees every explosion from the other side. Every scream he ignored. Every justification he whispered to himself. The pain isn't physical. It's moral. Absolute. Crushing. He falls to his knees, armor dissolving, hands clawing at nothing. The Penance Stare burns through him, not as punishment, but as truth. Across the city, Steve Rogers feels it. He's at a VA center in Brooklyn, listening to a young veteran talk about nightmares when his vision blurs. A wave of heat washes over him. He hears a scream that sounds like Tony's voice, carried on the wind. Steve stands, heart pounding. Sam, he mutters into his cum, something's wrong. By the time the Avengers converge on the tower, it's too late. The room is scorched black. The air still burns. Tony lies unconscious, eyes open but unseeing, tears carved into soot on his face. Thor drops to one knee beside him, lightning crackling in grief and fury. What creature dares strike at us? He growls. As if summoned by the challenge, the lights go out. Fire ignites behind them, casting monstrous shadows across the walls. The rider emerges again, chains rattling, hellfire reflecting in Captain America's shield. Natasha raises her weapons. Clint draws an arrow. Bruce feels the Hulk stirring in panic and rage. You are the Avengers, the Spirit says. You claim to protect the innocent, and yet the innocent burn. Steve steps forward, shield raised, but voice steady. We try to do what's right. We make the hard call so others don't have to. The skull turns toward him, flames roaring higher. Then you will endure the cost of those calls. Thor summons Mjolnir and hurls it with the force of a god. The hammer strikes the rider square in the chest and stops. The fire does not go out. The skull does not crack. A flaming hand catches the hammer mid-air. Even gods answer for their sins, the rider says. The tower shakes as the chains lash out again, wrapping around Thor's arm, around Clint's bow, around Natasha's wrist. Bruce roars as the Hulk bursts free, charging headlong into the fire. And for the first time since the Avengers assembled, fear cuts through them all at once. This isn't an invasion. This isn't a war. This is a hunt. And the spirit of vengeance has decided that Earth's mightiest heroes are guilty. The Hulk hits him like a green meteor, driving them both through 3 reinforced walls and into the open air. They crash onto the street below in a shockwave of fire and shattered concrete. Cars flip. Windows explode. Civilians scatter in terror as the Hulk roars, fists slamming down again and again, each blow strong enough to level a city block. But the flames don't go out. They crawl up Hulk's arms, wrapping around his chest, his throat. For the first time in a long time, the Hulk feels pain that isn't physical. He sees it then. A village flattened beneath his feet. A man screaming in a language he doesn't understand. Children running, crushed by falling debris while Hulk kept swinging. Kept smashing, because that's what he was unleashed to do. Hulk stumbles. His roar turns into confusion, into fear. No, Hulk saves people. He growls, voice cracking. The rider tightens the chain. He destroys what you do not understand. The flames flare brighter, and the vision intensifies. Bruce Banner surfaces beneath the rage, screaming apologies to faces that will never hear them. Hulk collapses to his knees, massive hands digging into the asphalt, smoke rising from his skin. Above them, lightning tears the sky apart. Thor descends like a wrathful god, eyes glowing blue, Stormbreaker in hand. "Release him," he commands, thunder rolling with his voice. "Face me instead." The rider looks up. For a moment, something like recognition flickers in the fire. "Son of Odin," he says, "you have drowned worlds in blood." Thor charges. Stormbreaker and hellfire collide, the impact shaking the city to its foundations. Thunder clashes with flame, godly power against ancient judgment. For a heartbeat, it seems like Thor might actually push him back. The ground cracks. The flames waver. Then the rider steps forward. Chains lash out, wrapping around Thor's chest and arm, dragging him close. The skull stares into the god's eyes, and Thor sees Asgard burning. He sees Jotunheim's frozen plains stained red. He sees the faces of giants, dark elves, soldiers who fell to his hammer long before he learned humility. Thor screams. It's not a battle cry, it's grief. In the tower above, Steve Rogers watches through shattered glass, his heart breaking as his team falls apart piece by piece. Natasha fires. Clint's arrows explode against the rider's chest. Wanda's hex magic slams into him in a wave of red energy. None of it stops him. The fire absorbs it, feeds on it. "Enough," Steve shouts, stepping between the rider and the others. "If you want someone, take me." The skull turns slowly toward him. Stephen Grant Rogers. The man who jumped on a grenade. The man who never stopped believing in right and wrong. The spirit of vengeance peers into him and hesitates. The flames dim, just slightly. "You carry less sin than the others," the rider says. "But you still led them. You still chose." Steve tightens his grip on the shield. "I'll carry that. But you don't get to decide who deserves to live." The rider raises his hand and stops. 'Cause somewhere deep inside the fire, Johnny Blaze is screaming. This wasn't supposed to go this far. The spirit is relentless, pushing him forward, demanding judgment, demanding balance. But Johnny sees what the spirit does not. Heroes who tried, who failed, who carried their guilt every day. He remembers saving people. He remembers being one of them. "No more," Johnny whispers. The flames surge violently as the rider staggers, clutching his skull as if in pain. The chains loosen. Thor collapses. Hulk slumps onto his side, shrinking back toward Bruce Banner, sobbing. Wanda senses it instantly. She reaches out, not with power, but with empathy. She touches the fire with her mind and feels Johnny Blaze beneath it. A man trapped in hell, burning for sins that aren't entirely his own. "You don't have to do this," she says softly. Justice without mercy isn't justice. For a long moment, the city holds its breath. Then, the rider roars, the sound tearing through the streets as flames explode outward. He yanks the chains free and steps back, motorcycle erupting from the ground behind him, tires blazing. This is not finished, the spirit declares. Their judgment is delayed, not denied. In a burst of fire, he vanishes. Silence follows. Sirens in the distance, the crackle of dying flames. The Avengers are left broken, shaken, alive but changed. Tony Stark finally stirs, gasping as if pulled back from drowning. Tears stream freely down his face. I saw them, he whispers, all of them. Steve kneels beside him, resting a hand on his shoulder. Then we don't ignore it anymore. High above the city, Ghost Rider watches from a rooftop, flames low. Johnny Blaze fighting for control as the spirit seethes within him. He knows the truth now. The Avengers are not innocent, but neither are they monsters. And the next time the spirit rises, the choice won't just be about vengeance. It will be about redemption. The world doesn't hear about it the next day. No press conference, no official statement. Just a quiet absence where the Avengers used to be. Missions are postponed. Patrols are cancelled. The tower goes dark. And in that silence, something dangerous grows. Guilt Tony Stark locks himself in a remote workshop in the Rockies, replaying the visions over and over. Not simulations, not projections, memories. He starts pulling up classified casualty reports he once skimmed past. He writes names on a whiteboard until there's no room left. For the first time, Iron Man isn't building weapons. He's building safeguards, fail-safes, systems designed to stop himself. Steve Rogers returns to Brooklyn and walks the streets at night, listening to the city breathe. Every scream the rider showed him echoes in his mind. He remembers every order he gave, every battle plan that turned neighborhoods into war zones. He starts asking a question that frightens him more than any enemy ever did. What if being right-eye, SNT enough? Thor doesn't go to New Asgard. He goes to the ruins of old battlefields scattered across the 9 realms, kneeling where his hammer once fell, where his pride once ruled. Each prayer he speaks is heavy with centuries of blood. He feels something watching him, always just beyond the edge of lightning and shadow. Johnny Blaze feels it too. The spirit of vengeance is restless, furious at being restrained. It claws at Johnny's mind, whispering that mercy is weakness, that delay is disobedience. Johnny rides endlessly, crossing deserts, cities, graveyards. Everywhere he goes, he senses sign like heat on his skin. And more than anywhere else, he feels it around the Avengers. But something else has changed. When he looks at them now, he doesn't just see guilt, he sees choice. The next strike comes weeks later, and this time, it isn't personal. A Hydra splinter cell resurfaces in South America, experimenting on civilians, trying to recreate super soldiers with stolen alien tech. The Avengers respond, despite everything, moving with restraint, precision, fear. They evacuate first. They pull punches, they hesitate, and people die anyway. Ghost Rider arrives in the middle of the chaos, bursting through a wall of flame as Hydra soldiers scatter in panic. This time, the Avengers don't attack him. They form a line between him and the fleeing civilians. "Take them," Natasha says, gesturing to the Hydra agents. "Not them." The spirit surges, chains rattling, hungry for the familiar taste of Avenger guilt. But the targets are clear now. The soldiers fire wildly, screaming prayers as the rider advances. Judgment is swift, absolute, terrifying. When it's over, bodies smolder and the air reeks of sulfur. The Avengers stand amidst the aftermath, bracing for the flames to turn on them again. They don't. The rider turns to Steve. The fire flickers. "You chose restraint," he says. "You chose sacrifice." Tony steps forward, voice shaking. "It won't erase what we've done, but we won't run from it either." For the first time, the spirit does not contradict him. Johnny Blaze feels it deep in his chest, a loosening. Not forgiveness, but possibility. Then the ground trembles. A presence descends that makes even the spirit recoil. Dark clouds swirl unnaturally, and a figure cloaked in shadow, an ancient authority, steps through reality itself. Mephisto smiles as if he's been waiting for this moment all along. "Ah," he says smoothly, "my favorite enforcer, playing hero." The rider snarls, flames surging. "Stay out of this." Mephisto's eyes slide to the Avengers. "Oh, but this is very much my business. These souls are ripe, broken by guilt, crushed by responsibility. You weaken them with mercy." He raises a hand, and the world fractures. The Avengers are ripped apart into individual hellscapes, personal infernos tailored to their worst fears. Tony is trapped in a city where his suits turn on civilians. Thor stands alone against endless armies he can never save. Natasha relives every Red Ledger entry, one by one. Steve watches the world burn because he refuses to compromise. Johnny screams as the spirit strains against Mephisto's grip. This isn't vengeance, this is exploitation. You don't get to own their pain, Johnny roars. Mephisto laughs. Pain is all I own. In that moment, the choice becomes clear. Ghost Rider turns not against the Avengers, but against hell itself. Flames explode outward as he shatters Mephisto's illusion, chains tearing through demonic constructs. He rides straight into the devil. Fire meets in darkness in a clash that splits the sky. The Avengers feel it, even trapped in their visions. They fight back not with power, but with acceptance. They stop denying their failures. They stop excusing them. They claim them, and the hellscapes crack. Steve breaks free first, shield raised not to attack, but to protect Johnny as Mephisto recoils. Thor's lightning joins the hellfire. Wanda's magic stabilizes the tearing reality. Tony reroutes power not to weapons, but to containment holding hell at bay. Mephisto snarls, wounded, retreating into shadow. This isn't over, he hisses. It never is. When he's gone, the battlefield falls silent once more. Ghost Rider stands alone, flames slowly dying down. Johnny Blaze collapses to his knees, exhausted, human again. Steve kneels beside him, offering a hand. We can't undo the past, Steve says, but we can answer for it. Together, Johnny looks up, eyes wet, the spirit quiet within him for the first time in years. High above them, the clouds part. Judgment has changed, and the final reckoning is no longer about punishment, it's about what comes after. The fire doesn't disappear completely, it never does. Johnny Blaze stands on shaking legs as the last embers crawl back beneath his skin. Around him, the Avengers look different, not weaker, not broken, but stripped of illusion. Gods, geniuses, legends, all forced to face the weight they carry. For a long moment, no one speaks. Then Tony exhales, slow and uneven. So, hell just tried to franchise us? No one laughs, but the tension eases, just a little. What happened doesn't stay secret this time. The Avengers don't reveal everything. The Rider Mephisto the visions, but they change how they operate. The missions slow down. The civilian evacuation becomes absolute priority, even if it means letting villains escape. They answer to oversight not because they're forced to, but because they finally understand why it matters. Some people call it weakness. Then the numbers come in. Civilian casualties drop to historic lows. Cities stop looking like war zones after every battle. For the first time, the Avengers aren't just ending threats, they're preventing suffering. And watching from the edges of the world, Ghost Rider waits. Not as an enemy, not as an ally. As a reminder, Johnny rides the highways at night, flames reflecting in rain-soaked asphalt, feeling the spirit stir when injustice riseth. He no longer fights it blindly. He listens. He questions. The spirit of vengeance resists, but something fundamental has shifted. It has seen that even the guilty can choose differently. That choice is tested sooner than anyone expects. A cosmic emergency erupts near Earth's orbiter rogue celestial fragment, destabilizing gravity across continents. Stopping it will require overwhelming force, the kind that risks millions of lives if miscalculated. The old Avengers would have acted instantly. This time, they hesitate. Steve looks at the projections, then at his team. If we do this wrong, we don't do it wrong, Tony interrupts quietly. And if we can't guarantee that, we find another way. Time is running out. Pressure builds. Governments scream for action. And in the vacuum of doubt, the sky burns. Ghost Rider appears on the edge of the command platform, flames illuminating the stars themselves. The Avengers tense, but he doesn't attack. He doesn't accuse. You're afraid, the spirit says. Yes, Steve answers. No shield raised. No defiance. Just truth. The Rider studies them. The fire flares, then steadies. Then you are not lost. Johnny steps forward, human eyes visible beneath fading flame. There's another option, riskier for us, safer for everyone else. The plan costs them. Thor channels lightning beyond his limits. Wanda anchors reality at the cost of unbearable strain. Tony reroutes power through his own body, nearly burning himself out. Hulk holds the fragment together with sheer will. screaming as gravity tears at him. Ghost Rider rides straight into the heart of the celestial energy. Chains binding the fragment, hellfire absorbing what no mortal force could withstand. For a moment, it looks like it will kill him. Then Steve does what he's always done. He steps forward and shares the burden. The fragment stabilizes, Earth is saved. Johnny collapses, barely conscious. The spirit is quiet, exhausted, sated not by punishment, but by purpose. In the aftermath, as medics rush in and dawn breaks over a living world, Steve stands beside Johnny once more. "So," Tony says softly, looking at the rider, "you still hunting us?" Johnny manages a weak smile. "I hunt monsters. Just make sure you don't become them." And with that, the flames fade. The motorcycle roars once, then vanishes down the empty road. The Avengers watch him go, knowing he'll never be far. Because from that day forward, every choice they make carries weight. Every battle asks a question: power or responsibility, vengeance or justice, punishment or redemption. And somewhere in the darkness, the spirit of vengeance watches not to condemn, but to ensure they never forget the cost of being heroes. Because the most terrifying judgment isn't hellfire, it's knowing the truth and choosing to be better anyway. In the end, Ghost Rider did not defeat the Avengers. He transformed them. The spirit of vengeance came to Earth, expecting monsters hiding behind heroism, expecting gods who believed themselves above consequence. What he found instead was something far more dangerous and far more powerful. Flawed beings with the ability to choose, to learn, to change. The Avengers learn that saving the world is not enough if the world keeps burning afterward. That every victory carries a shadow, and every decision leaves scars that cannot be erased, only acknowledged. Their strength was never in their fists, their armor, or their thunder. It was in their willingness to bear the weight of their actions and still stand up again. Johnny Blaze learned something too. That vengeance without humanity becomes cruelty. That justice without mercy becomes tyranny. And that even the spirit of vengeance must evolve or risk becoming the very evil it was meant to punish. From that day on, Ghost Rider was no longer the executioner of heroes. He became their mirror, a burning reminder that power demands accountability, that guilt can either destroy you or guide you, and that redemption is not granted by gods, devils, or spirits of hell, but earned, choice by choice, moment by moment. The Avengers continued to protect the world. Ghost Rider continued to watch from the shadows, and the world kept turning safer, not because its heroes were perfect, but because they finally understood the true meaning of justice. Not vengeance, responsibility.